I'm going to walk through how to upgrade two NetScaler appliances that are set up in a HA pair so that there's no downtime during the upgrade and you can do the upgrades during the working day without disrupting users. So the first thing to do, save the configuration. So save that on the primary, then go to secondary and save the configuration on there. Now at this point, I would make hypervisor snapshots so that if you have any problems, you can roll back to them. Another thing you can do to negate any kind of issues is to make an actual backup of the NetScaler. So I would make a backup of the primary NetScaler by going into System and then going into Backup and Restore. Now in here, click on Backup and Import, give the file a name. So pop like pre-upgrade or something in there. And then on your level, change that down to full and then just click the Backup button. That will create your backup file for you. So you have this pre-upgrade.tgz file, which you can see there. So click on that, and then where it says select action, drop that down, do download, and you've got an offline copy of the configuration. So you can always restore that backup if needed. You can just, if you create a new NetScaler appliance, you can import that in and then do the restoration. So yeah, you're covered with snapshots and you're also covered with a config backup there. So once you've done that, we check the license, and most licenses, well, within the next like 30 days, they'll all go over to license activation service anyway from the 15th of April 2026. But if you had a file-based license, you would need the license to be in date from when the firmware version was released. Otherwise, you can't upgrade. So always check your license, make sure it is licensed before carrying it out. Our next step is to upload the firmware file to the two NetScaler appliances. So in here, yeah, I've logged in using WinSCP to both of my NetScaler appliances so I can upload the file. As you can see, we go to HA, we've got an SVPX2 as our secondary, so that'll be our first NetScaler that we upgrade so that we don't affect the primary, which is running all the services on there, like gateways and load balancers. So we need to go to the var and then ns install directory. As you can see in there, we've already got an old firmware file there from the old last firmware version that was installed. So we'll delete that first to create space, because sometimes you can run the upgrade and if there's not enough space, the upgrade would just fail or tells you it can't install. So yeah, we'll delete that old one off there. There we go, press the X on there, it's gone. And then we'll create a new directory in the right-hand pane with the name of the new firmware version. So I'll copy that, then right click, do new, and then do directory, paste the name in there, click OK. And then just go into that directory and then drag the firmware folder into that right pane and it will upload. Because there's a NetScaler VPX20, throughput on here will probably be around about 2 megabits per second, so it takes about 15 minutes to upload. And then I'll do the same for the primary as well, so they're both up there and it will save me time. So go into the var directory, ns install, yeah, delete the old firmware file there, firmware directory I should say, and then yeah, create that directory again in the right pane, and then yeah, drag the firmware file in once that's done, yeah, and that'll upload. So that will take a little bit of time, and I'll come back once it's uploaded. So the firmware files have uploaded to both NetScalers now, so yeah, we are ready to start upgrading. So what we have to do now is open a Putty session. So we need to do this for both NetScalers. So we'll first connect to the primary NetScaler, which is 181. You just log in with that NS root credentials or whatever other admin credentials you use to log into your NetScalers. And now we'll log into the secondary as well, which is our 182. So open another Putty session, go to the 182 IP address, log in with our admin credentials again. Okay, so we're there, and as you see there, it does say you are connected to a secondary node. So we know that which one is the secondary and which one is the primary. There we go, I'll just highlight it there. So the first thing we need to do on here is drop into the shell. So we just type shell. Do that on both of them, yeah. And then we need to change directories and go to /var/ns install and then / the build directory that we created. After that, we can do an ls and it will show us the firmware file that we upgraded, the build and then .tgz file. We can do that on this secondary as well. Just go to that var ns install build directory. There we go. ls, yeah, it shows you that file. And then we go back to our primary. You need to extract the contents of that tgz file now. So we do tar-xvzf and then the build name .tgz. Press enter, that all extracts out. Do exactly the same thing on the secondary. Takes a little bit of time, but yeah, it's nearly done. It's done on the primary. Yeah, it's done on the secondary now. So we go back to our primary NetScaler here, and then go into system, and we're going to go into the HA high availability section. And what we're going to do here is for our primary, we're going to set the high availability status for this one to stay primary so that when the upgrade takes place, the secondary doesn't take over as a primary at all and affects the services that are running on there. So that is now set as stay primary, our primary is, and we go to the secondary and we're going to set the secondary as stay secondary. Tick that box again, do edit, high availability status, drop down and do stay secondary and click OK. So there we go. We can see that both stay secondary and stay primary. We'll just pop back onto the primary as well and refresh the HA page on there. And yeah, it's just wait there. Yeah, we'll go back into there now. And there we go. Yep. Stay secondary, refresh that. So yeah, it looks all great now to do the upgrade. So we go to our secondary now. I'm going to run the command /install ns and then just press enter. We may get a few prompts here and we just need to click yes to each one. So the first one that says, yeah, there's some unsaved changes. That's just us changing the high availability mode. Don't worry about that. You don't want to save that anyway, so just click yes to continue. The next one is about certificate digest. Just click yes on that as well. And then the next one is to delete old RSA keys and other files on there. So just click yes for that and let the installation go through. I'll come back when that's finished. Okay, it's finished now. So just click on reboot. Click yes, I should say, on there for it to reboot. Yep, so that will now start to reboot the NetScaler appliance. We should get the Putty session ends, yep. So just click OK and then close that Putty session for the secondary. Okay, and that will reboot. And if we refresh this, you should see that it shows as being down on that page. Yeah, unknown down, so yeah, it is rebooting. So we'll come back once that's up and running. As you can see, it's back up again now. It says there, secondary is now up. So we can see that our old firmware version on the primary is 47.48. Now, if we go to our secondary and drop down that same box, we should see it's at 66.54. There we go, 66.54. So our secondary has upgraded correctly. Now, what we need to do is fail the primary over so that the secondary becomes the primary appliance. So what we'll do now, go back to the primary, and we'll go into the HA configuration side again. And we'll change that from stay primary back to enabled. So tick the box, do edit, high availability status, change to enable from stay primary and click OK. And now we can fail the primary over. So it becomes secondary and the secondary becomes primary. So you have to click the select action box here, and then that will give you some drop down options and you'll have a force failover option. Click on that and then just click yes there and that will complete the process. Okay, so it started and now this with the old primary here should now become the secondary. If we refresh the page, it'll say secondary for the NSVPX appliance. There you go. Top lines change to secondary as the master state. If we go to the secondary, It still says secondary at the top. Well, this is now the primary, but if we go into system, high availability, click on node. Now you can see there, NSBPX2, which we upgraded, is now the primary. So at this point, what you would do now is any test you need to do. So if you need to test that your load balancer is still working, if you need to test that your content switches are working, if you need to test that your NetScaler gateways are still working, you can do that all now. So the good thing about this as well, when you fail over, if you've got NetScaler gateway connections and sessions coming through here, those sessions will not drop. They will stay in place. So you don't have to have any worries about downtime for your NetScaler gateway sessions when doing these kind of upgrades, which is great because you can do them in the daytime. You don't have to do them out of hours and things like that. You don't have to take up valuable time in your evenings or weekends. So that's great. Now we will say that this one is done. Everything's working on there. All's fine. And then what we're going to do now is go and upgrade the secondary appliances, which is running the older version of firmware. So what we'll do again on here now, tick the box, click edit, and then we'll change the enabled to stay primary on our new primary machine. Yeah, and then go back to our secondary again, and we'll set our secondary as stay secondary, and then we'll upgrade it. Okay, click OK on that. So now, yeah, we should see, yeah, the new primary is a stay primary, and the secondary is a stay secondary. And they're both like that. So go back to Putty. All we have to do now is run /install ns to start the upgrade off on the secondary that hasn't been upgraded. So first of all, I'll just show you the version that's on here to make sure it isn't the upgraded one. So if we do show version, there you go, NetScaler 14.1 build 47.48. So we know it is running an older version. So we'll drop back into the shell again, and then back to the build directory. There we go, back into that build directory, and then we'll run the /install ns command here. There we go, just entering that now. Press enter on there. Yeah, we just get the prompts again. Any prompts come up, yeah, we'll click yes on them. So we should get the unsaved one again. Yep, there we go. Click yes to ignore those changes. And then the next one should be to delete the RSA keys. Oh, we've got another one, ignoring unsync configuration. Yeah, just click yes on that. That's fine, because then there are different firmware versions, so the sync status isn't correct. So yeah, click yes again to delete the keys. Let that run through. We'll wait for it to ask us to reboot. Yep, there we go. The upgrade is done there. So we need to give it a reboot now. Click yeah, enter Y for yes, and press enter. That will now reboot. We'll come back once that's rebooted. Right, it's back up again now. You can see the secondary at the bottom there is showing the green dot saying that it's up. It does say the synchronization is in process. This is actually, I've seen this before, it's actually a problem with the screen. So you just have to go out of nodes and go back in. Yeah, change that high availability configuration mode to enabled, so they're both back in HA. And yeah, it's still saying in progress because yeah, I think there's that little bug it's got on there. So I'll drop back into the secondary. Let's go and log into there. Check what it says in there. So that's just signing in. Take a little bit of time. Yeah, it's going in now. Yeah, so it says we're on the secondary appliance here. We'll check the firmware. So it has upgraded to 66.54. Yeah, and if we go, oh yeah, so, yeah, it's definitely, yeah, 14.1, 66.54. And go back on here now, just refresh again, see if it's any better. No, it's still saying in progress. So if I go out of here, click on high availability, go root monitors, and then go back to nodes. Yeah, there you go. Synchronization state is now successful. So that's the upgrade complete. It's all done there. Yeah, it's quite painless, and yeah, you don't have to worry about any kind of downtime. You don't have to worry about losing sessions and stuff. So I would now save the configuration on both. I think all the changes is just the version name at the top of the configuration files. So yeah, just do that, and that's fully upgraded. And I hope that all helps you when you come to upgrading your own NetScaler appliances. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. And please give us a like and subscribe, and have a look at the other videos we've created as well, because we're creating quite a bit of a NetScaler and Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktops content at the moment. So yeah, please do like and subscribe, and please do join us on the next one. Thank you very much for joining us.